Okay, good morning, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It is currently 9 a.m. I would like to confirm that we do have quorum, continue to have members of committee both joining us both in person and online. As well, I'd like to confirm we have our CAO, clerk, and members of senior management team and staff here and present today. Continue to advise the public that you are welcome to provide input on the agenda items at the following email address, tmlpubliccomment@muskokalakes.ca. Today, there was none received. Today's meeting is being live streamed and recorded on the Township of Muskoka Lakes website and YouTube channel. By participating in an open public meeting today, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded and posted online. There was no supplementary agenda, and at this point, I would like to ask committee if there's any disclosures of pecuniary interest. Okay, not seeing any. That's great. A couple of admin notes. Motions have been pre-populated with random movers and seconders to expedite the meeting. And from a voting perspective, members shall physically raise their hand until the chair has confirmed the vote. If the vote is unclear, a verbal vote shall be recorded by the clerk. This is not considered a recorded vote. All right, committee, at this point, I'd like to turn our floor over to our delegations and welcome at 5A, Blake Johnston, who is the chair of our Muskoka Lakes Chamber of Commerce. Welcome. And committee, just, you know, both of these delegations, we've given up to 10 minutes. So they've got good presentations for us, and then we will go through the standard asking questions afterwards. So welcome.
Thank you, Chair and Council. I'm Blake Johnston, Chair of the Muskoka Lakes Chamber of Commerce at 3125 Highway 169 Bala. I'm here to give you a year-end report that's part of our partnership agreement. This report includes the metrics you ask us to report on and more. On the screen is an infographic, one page for each of your priority areas. I'm not going to read everything you see. I think it should be easy for you to compare what you ask for in the way of performance measures and how we've exceeded them. Under business support, the township was looking for a minimum 7 business events and 4 business support workshops. We've already held 26 business events and are leading Muskoka Business Week at the end of this month. We're excited about the cross-Muskoka collaboration this has generated. Along with our 4 events that week, there are another 7 events happening across Muskoka. We kick off with a contractor boot camp on the Monday in Bala. We help with your business after hours on Tuesday. And the flagship event is our Shift Happens conference on the 27th that we are also holding in Muskoka Lakes. Some of the workshops we've held this year range from partnering on the township's short-term rental licensing webinar to learning about inclusive hiring, managing seasonal workers, and hosting a recent speaker panel about how events and tourism drive regional growth in partnership with Explorers Edge. There are just too many referrals to partner organizations locally, provincially, and federally to list in 5 minutes. But of course, our number one partner is the Township of Muskoka Lakes. Second page up, please. Your second priority is all about community promotion. The success measures you've asked us to meet include making the local community and potential visitors aware of events in Muskoka Lakes and to encourage them to share local events through us. In fact, they can submit events directly to our events calendar, and they do. The work plan also states that we will strive to post on social platforms daily. The results? We have once again proven that we are leaders in promoting the community we serve. One of your past targets was to be consistently the most followed chamber in Muskoka, which we are. Now we're one of the most followed in Ontario. Muskoka Lakes has influence. Far-reaching too. Port Carling, Bala, and Oktoberfest Muskoka were featured in Islands magazine based out of California. We connected CBC National News with community organizers of the Bala Beer Store Farewell, a very positive story about community spirit that was talked about nationwide. In the winter, CTV asked the Chamber about snowmobiling conditions, and so many of those stories about top places to visit link back to the visitor information section of the Chamber website. Third page up, please. Township's third priority area is for us to provide year-round visitor and resident information. The success measure you look for there is for us to deliver best-in-class information services and hire at least 2 students for high season. With grants, we were able to hire 3. and our partners often call us for local information. Just this week, it was Destination Ontario asking about the trek to Bethlehem. Something unexpected that resulted from the Buy Canadian response to tariffs. Conference planners asked us to help them put welcome packages together from local businesses for their conference attendees. Most had found us through shopmuskokalakes.ca, so that's still working to promote being here and drive local retail sales. When it comes to visitors tracked, we also kept the kiosk open at Windsor Park right up until last week. Those comments that you see are from visitors signing our guest book. We know we miss tracking everyone who depends on our service. Still, if we look at the conservative number of walk-ins we did enter into our system and consider an equally conservative spend of about $160 per head, we're putting significant money back into our local economy. And that's how we estimated the $250,000 spend. We moved into our new office in December. We hope you've seen our new signage, which beautifies the building. It features all-season images and makes it clear that we are your go-to for expert local information. Operating costs for us and everyone are going up, and we appreciate the ongoing support of the Township of Muskoka Lakes. You can see that we multiply the return on your investment many times over. We hope you are as pleased as we are. The impact of our partnership is measurable and real. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Well under time, so thank you very much, Mr. Johnson. Committee, do we have any questions? Councillor Bosemworth. Oh, I think your mic just went up. There it is.
Right, thank you very much. Mr. Johnston, pretty impressive numbers and an awful lot of these events. I was wondering what the average turnout is, sort of, and maximum minimum on some of these events.
They're very well attended. Yeah, 35 and 150. And when you compare our, we've been to some business after hours, for example, with other chambers, ours are much better attended than most of the other ones that I've seen.
Committee, are there any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Thank you.
Thank you, sister.
Thanks for all the hard work that you guys have done over the years. Thank you. All right, moving on, Mr. Uffelmann. Welcome.
Thanks very much. I'm Dave Uffelmann. I'm board chair at the hospital. The presentation today is, the update is going to come from Cheryl Harrison, our CEO, and then Cheryl and I will both be available for any questions afterwards. So over to Cheryl.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you for having us today. Next slide, please. Get my right slide here. There we go. I always like to start with gratitude to our foundations and to our communities that donate to us. As you can see on the slide, we wouldn't be able to do the healthcare services that we do without the donations and the work that our foundations do. Many people don't realize that the government does not give us money for equipment, right down to blood pressure cuffs. So every little bit helps, and our foundations and our generous communities need to be thanked over and over again. We get an annual commitment from both our foundations of about $1 million. But on top of that, as the needs arise, like our MRI in Huntsville, communities across Muskoka step up to support that. And as we all know, we have our great capital redevelopment ahead of us, and our hospital foundations, I'm sure you've been following the media, have really been getting some very, very generous donations from significant donors. Next slide. Our partnerships and collaborations continue to grow, and they really do support the healthcare of Muskoka and area. In the top two areas, our physician-led education group. Again, I think it's a secret that's kept from the community, but we have physicians across our organization and our communities that do research. And it's not just research that is in the larger picture of research. It's research that actually makes a difference locally on things that they're examining. And they step up on top of their busy practices and are supporters and leaders of research. And again, we're very fortunate. We have the Northern Ontario School of Medicine University. That is such a feeder into our recruitment of new physicians. And recently we've entered into discussions with the new medical school with York University. The other area around direct service is the Alexander Muskoka residence as well as Andy's house. Those have been projects and partnerships that have actually made a difference in how we care for patients. Patients who have been palliative, historically, there wasn't enough beds and people would come into the emergency department and have their last hours there. Now in this partnership, we have funded beds. We have advocated to the government for beds for Andy's house and we've all been successful. So working together, we have made a difference in terms of how we care for people in our community. Barrie Area Native Advisory Circle, again, is a recognized partner. We want to ensure that we're supporting our Indigenous patients and families from across the region. In that partnership, we have been able to bring in an Indigenous patient navigator, which supports patients and families while they're in hospital and helps them navigate the system when they're being discharged. And those are just a few I wanted to highlight. Next slide. Community engagement like this continues to be essential as we grow and develop our healthcare system in Muskoka. Listening to inform our plans, listening to understand, and also taking the time for that two-way conversation to help our communities understand where our future is going. We're open to new approaches in communication. I've started a couple of them here. I have a CEO advisory table, which has been instrumental. I have representatives from across Muskoka and area who we meet about every 6 weeks. They are my ears and eyes at the ground. They give great advice on different things that are going on and really, really thankful for their support. And then the other thing that we've started is our Pulse podcast. And we started that in a way to try to do some more education, let the community get to know MAC as well as us getting to know the community. And so we've just had 3 now. The last one we did was on our Women's Health Hub. And again, that one, I hope you listen to it because it's a combination of what we're doing for women's health in Muskoka, but it's also based on a grant that we were able to get through the local education group that I mentioned earlier. So a bit of seed money, and then we have the practitioners. It's really quite a great program that's been started. Next slide. I wanted to give an update on our obstetrics at Muskoka, Algonquin. We know how important that is to our communities that we serve. And as everybody knows, we had to take a bit of a pause at the site in Bracebridge. We have been working tirelessly all summer long with the Ministry of Health and Ontario Health to take a look at options where we can ensure that we're having a high quality, sustainable, low volume obstetrical program in Muskoka. And whether that's, it's across both sites, quite frankly, because we only do about 200 deliveries a year. At the best, when we open our new hospitals, we'll be at 300. So we do need to look at innovative ways to provide this low volume service. And we're really hopeful. Again, I've got meetings almost every week with the ministry to see when we can come out with some communication on this. Next slide. Financial and organizational hurdles. I think there's a lot that is very similar to hospitals across Ontario, and I'll give a few bits of facts and as well what that means for Muskoka, Algonquin. Some of the things that are complex for our organization, but across the province, financial stability. Ontario hospitals are facing more than $1 billion deficit this year in operating costs. It's just unbelievable, and we're faced with the same. We are being held accountable, as we should, with the taxpayers' dollars around how to provide hospital care services. But most of us are operating in excess of 20 to 30% more hospital beds than we are funded for. So that equates across the province to anywhere between 2,000 and 3,000 beds that are being operated on, looking after patients with no funding attached. We have a lot of advocacy going on across the hospital sector with the Ontario Hospital Association, and we're doing what we can to contribute to trying to get that sustainability at Muskoka, Algonquin. In addition, we know from talks about our capital redevelopment and why we're doing it, we have aging infrastructure. This again is not uncommon across the province. And most hospitals over the next 3 years are having to make choices about their investments in aging infrastructure. And that certainly has the quality effect on patient care when you can invest on fixing your hospitals. We also have a shortage of health human resources. It is unique for Muskoka just because of our geography, but as I mentioned, I think we have some innovative ways of attracting people to our beautiful area. High housing costs in Muskoka. I hear it when I go to orientation for new staff. Often that's the biggest challenge that folks are having. But I think our work with the district and with others, so that we're all working together to try and find new ways to be able to house folks, will help this. And there are some other items on there. Mental health concerns, very near and dear to me. It's not just about beds. We've got beds to the south of us for people who are very ill with mental health, but people, it's a chronic disease and they need their community support services in place. And this is an area that is very underserviced in Muskoka. And then we all know that our seasonal population fluctuations is unique to Muskoka. Other areas have this as well, but we do feel that influx of demands on healthcare services. And we are continuing, as I said, to advocate on some of these challenges at a provincial level. Our laser focus on our capital redevelopment will certainly help us 7 to 10 years down the road to be able to address the aging infrastructure and expand services and beds. Next slide. Couldn't be amiss to let you know how we're doing with our capital redevelopment stage 1.3 submission. It's all in, all questions are answered. We are just in a bit of a waiting mode right now. Our project has gone through, had to go through Treasury Board again, and that's been happening over the last 6 weeks. So we are keeping our fingers crossed that we will get news by the end of calendar year. We're working with the town of Bracebridge on the land acquisition. Active discussions are going on with that. On the slide, you'll see the signs, and if you've come to either one of our hospitals, we have been really promoting the one healthcare system with 2 hospital sites and been getting very positive feedback on that. The next stage is stage 2, which would take about 18 months. We'll be securing architects. We'll be starting the design phase. This, again, it will be a high degree of engagement with our frontline workers, our community, our patients, and our families. Next slide. Just wanted to highlight that over the last year, we had an important process of updating our strategic plan with the board and with our community. Over the last 2 years, we've had enormous input into today and into the future. And so very happy that we're using this information from our stakeholders to create a mission. Together, we're providing outstanding integrated care to support people to live their healthiest lives. Healthiest was an important piece that we heard from our community. It's not just about being there when you're sick. It's about what we can do to ensure that we're keeping people at their best when it comes to their health. And our vision, as I said, around partnership and collaboration is transforming healthcare together. Our strategic pillars on the next slide are the 4 areas that we are focusing on: quality of care and safety. It's almost foundational to any hospital or healthcare system. We're expanding our partnerships and collaboration because we know they work. We've got evidence of how important they are. And we know that change in healthcare is happening at a very fast pace. So we're ensuring that we're keeping abreast and ensuring that we have an innovative future and making sure that we're keeping our healthcare system in Muskoka up to date and into the future. And last but not least is our dedicating our efforts towards our workforce team. They are what makes healthcare in Muskoka the best thing possible, and we need to make sure that we're investing and staying focused on keeping them at our organization. And the last slide, just staying connected. We've got lots of information on our website, and Dave and I are happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Committee, are there any questions? Councillor Roberts.
Thank you. You had mentioned innovative ways to attract healthcare providers. What are some of those? What are you doing to do that?
Well, one of it is being available for their placement when they're students. That is probably one of the best ways of ensuring that people that come and learn with us want to stay with us. And so making sure that we're creating as many opportunities as we possibly can. Sorry about that. I had shut that off. Yeah. We're really opening up the work that we're doing with NOSM University and York University, looking at creating those supports that especially physicians need when they're practicing in rural communities. Nursing opportunities, again, the ability to have education opportunities in our organization. We've applied and been granted many different things through Ontario Health around bringing in new students, giving them opportunities to have extended learning opportunities. And all of that, I think, really, when you talk to the healthcare workers, it's about the team that they work with. And so when they can come to the organization and have that opportunity, we see a great deal of folks that want to stay with us.
I'd like to just comment a little too. One thing Cheryl didn't mention, on our staff team, nurses and others, our vacancy rate, if you compare a year ago to where we are now, we're at a fraction of the vacancies that we had. So there's shortages across the province. Our team has done a fantastic job of filling those vacancies and getting us up close to where we need to be. So the results have been excellent.
And thanks, David. As I say, I go to orientation every couple of weeks, and just last week, we had 18 folks. And I would say that 2/3 of them weren't from our area. Like, they're relocating. So there is lots out there, I think, in terms of people being able to choose the organization they want to work with, people that they want to work with. Housing still is a challenge, though. I feel for them, but we have folks that come, find a rental, get themselves sorted out, make some connections, and are still with us 2-3 years later and are then buying a home. So good news.
Thank you. Any other questions, committee? I have two, just of more of interest, so just very, very high level, because I did see you could get more information on the Stay Connected piece. You noted the discussion on the Women's Health Hub. Could you just expand a little bit? Is that a location? What is the approach taken? How are you?
Sure. So it started as a grant. There was a nurse and a physician in Huntsville that were very keen in seeing evidence of lack of education to women for menopause. And so they put together the grant and they got it. They started education first. So they were holding focus groups. It is out of the Huntsville Family Health Team. There's a location up there, but they also been hosting some virtual events. When we did the podcast, that day was their first day to open a clinic to actually see patients. So Dr. McMillan and the nurse actually are seeing patients, being able to do some treatment options, etc. I did ask them about outreach because I do think it's a good example. And, like anything, you got to start small and then scale and spread. But the passion for this is really great, and they're seeing a lot of women, which is really important for women's health. So.
Well, it's certainly in the emerging
It is.
area, so that it's just nice to see that that's happening.
Yeah,
here as well.
and being able to do the research around it with the grant actually then gives it the teeth that we can, look at other avenues for funding and expanding.
So the second question, again, high level, because the mental health approach that you're taking, I understand the beds, and that's for the extreme situations, but I'm curious to know the model or the framework on how to address this. This is such an underserviced area here.
It is, and it's something that at the provincial level, I'm actually joined a committee with the Ontario Hospital Association for mental health and addictions across the province. And they are looking at frameworks and models for what they would call like a hub and spoke model. So you may have a larger center that can treat the really ill patients, but then what do we need to do in community? And there are a lot of community providers that support mental health, but it's very fragmented. Mm-hmm. So the approach is to take a look at a hub and spoke model. We're also looking at even our building as we build an emergency department. How can we make that emergency department much more welcoming and conducive for people who are having mental health crisis? And so there's some models out there that other organizations have been successful in. So we'll be looking at those as we go through our design and program planning phases.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, committee? Thank you guys very much. I appreciate
Thank
you making your way into the chamber today. Moving on now to item 8A. Mr. Phipps, yeah, that's you. Yep.
Sorry, I didn't have my number memorized.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. Ms. Jeffries, come on up. Sorry. That's funny.
Okay, good morning, Chair Mazan and committee. The staff report is related to the results up to the end of the third quarter and is for information only. The weather event and the delay in the short-term rentals are the main contributing factor to the deficit showing in this report. Some items that help reduce the deficit to the end of this quarter is higher investment income than budgeted, staffing vacancies due to the timing of the new positions being filled and timing of replacement staff being hired, as well as higher fines and penalties than budgeted. Because of the cyclical nature and the timing of when information is received, there is a number of variables that will be impacting year-end results. For one, after this report was released, we were informed that we have a WSI rebate of just over $327,000. This rebate will help reduce the forecasted deficit. But we still have a number of items that will continue to impact the year-end results. We're moving into the end of the year with 5% or approximately $60,000 of our winter control budget left. And giving a reference, at the same time in 2024, we had 43% or about $434,000 of budget remaining, and we spent over $573,000 to the end of the year. And in 23, we had 24.3% or approximately $250,000 remaining and spent over $324,000. So both years we went over budget, and we had higher amounts remaining at the end of the third quarter. And if the last months of 2025 are similar to 24 and 23, this cost center will be over budget. But if we have a year like 2021, where very little was spent on winter control in the last quarter of approximately only $40,000, then we may be closer. But with snow here, I'm kind of doubting that. We also have market risk related to investment income as fair value may fluctuate. And there are expenses that will be higher in the last quarter, such as hydro and heating. But then again, there's revenue items that don't occur until the last quarter. So we're still working with a number of variables and being aware that there could be unforeseen events occur. But having the WSI rebate, the staff estimate in this report would be reduced. Council has asked for more information on capital projects life to date, and Appendix 2 of this report gives that information. This report is still a little bit of a work in progress with improvements needed on how we enter council resolutions into the software where the report comes from, some formatting and just general housekeeping of the data. But the report does give a good summary of projects life to date activity with spending in 2025. And relating to capital spend, it is traditionally higher in the last quarter as projects are being completed and invoices are being received. A bulk of the larger dollar projects that are unspent relate to roads, bridges, and equipment purchases. There's 2 tandem plow trucks for about $830,000 have been ordered and are expected either December or early 2026. And some of the road projects started late and invoices have not been received. The tender for the Burgess Dam is out and no spending has occurred on that $2.5 million project, but staff do expect the bulk of the 2025 projects will be completed or committed to by year end. And if we have any questions.
Thank you. Committee, are there any questions? Councillor Kent.
Thank you. Could you just expand on this W5 rebate? I'm probably a little bit ignorant.
It was a rebate that we received. It's actually for 24 and 25, and it's for, there's a number of criteria, but basically we have not had any major claims against WSIB, and putting money back into the businesses that have paid WSIB that have a good record.
So how much was it? I thought you said 300 something? That's
327,000.
unbudgeted. That's very significant, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, because that will close a bit of a very significant gap that we have.
Thank you.
Yes.
So committee, there is no resolution in front of us. This is for information. So this is questions or comments. Councillor Kent, did you have another question or comment? No? Okay. Councillor Bosenworth.
Thank you, and through you. I'm curious on the user fees on the revenue side. Looks like we're well below, and the explanation is there's some movement of where you book the revenue. It's going directly to the reserve account, I think. Could you walk me through what that number would look like if you adjusted for the change in the way it's being accounted for?
Sorry, just give me a second here.
Yep.
For you.
What I'm trying to figure out is if you make the correction, what do these numbers look like? In other words, are we on plan on user fees, or do we need to give some thought to, what are we charging?
I don't have, I'm sorry, through you, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head. I think that we, the accrual, and this is a guess from my memory, is about 324,000 of planning fees that we could not account for because the work was not completed. And we do have to budget it that way because of, or record it that way because of PSAP.
Okay.
Well, if I may,
Supplemental? Mhm.
Can you talk to me about regular user fees, not building user fees? And that's, I know it's a detail, so if you don't have the answer, perhaps we can deal with it another time.
Yeah, I would have to look at it and get back.
Yeah, I mean, the whole subject of user fees is, I kind of feel, is something we should probably have a look at. I think staff has been suggesting we do that. I don't know if Mr. Donaldson might have some comments on that.
Through you, Chair, I don't have anything additional at this time. I think we'll provide the committee with additional details on user fees to kind of break that down a little bit and provide a little bit more insight as to the variance on that.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Nishikawa and then Councillor Kent.
Thank you. Through you to staff, and I'm not sure which one, but I thought we just increased some planning user fees. And I'm not sure, like I just hope that we're not going to dive into the community centers again, because we do this every few years and it never changes. And so I'm just not sure where the conversation's going on the user fees, but I thought we did bring something forward that we're expanding the fees.
Who would like
So
to
through
take
you,
that
Chair, I
question?
just want to make sure we're clear on the planning fees. So there was an increase in planning fees in recent years. It's the accounting rules that have changed. We used to recognize our planning fees as they were received as revenue at that time. Now we have to recognize it as the work of that application proceeds through the process. And as committees aware, applications can take a long time. So money we would receive in 2025, we may be recognizing over 2025, 2026, depending on how long we get to the finish line. The accounting standard is trying to connect the earning of the revenue with the work being performed and the transfer of benefit to the payer.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Kent?
Continuing on that, thank you, by the way. I would have, my reaction when I saw that line in the report was, would you not restate, if you were a public company, you'd restate the prior year so you could make a reasonable comparison, even if it's difficult to restate the prior year. We're talking about a number that's a bit out of whack, and it's primarily because the restatement for the prior year hasn't been completed. So I guess my question for the two of you is, would you not just restate the prior year so we could have a reasonable comparison?
Who would like to take that question?
Through you, Chair. So you're correct. A restatement would be an appropriate task. Unfortunately, we don't have all the information readily available that we would need to get from the planning staff in terms of where they would have been on certain projects last year at a certain point in time. So that restatement exercise would be quite onerous. But I take your point that that would be the correct presentation so that you can compare apples to apples.
And to add to that, it will be, the adjustment was made at year end. So the year end results will be comparable.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, thank you. Committee, are there any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much.
Thanks.
8B, who's joining us? Ms. Story, welcome to the podium.
All right, thank you, Chair, and good morning, committee. The report before you is regarding an application that's been received from the owner of 1049 Sagamo Boulevard, looking to purchase a portion of Township Road Allowance and complete a land exchange that is aimed to realign and correct the trespassing of Sagamo Boulevard located on private property. Staff have reviewed the application and are recommending approval, subject to the conditions noted in the staff report. And with that said, I will turn it back to the chair.
Thank you. Committee, I do have a resolution. I will read the resolution and then open it up for questions and comments. Moved by Councillor Edwards, seconded by Councillor McIntyre. Be it resolved that original road allowance and land exchange application ORA 0525 MacDonald be approved subject to the following conditions. 1, that a satisfactory corresponding draft numbered reference plan of survey be prepared and provided to the clerk for review within 1 year of the date of this conditional approval. 2, that the township be in receipt of the following from the acting solicitor. Confirmation that public notice of the proposed disposition was published pursuant to Township Policy C-LS-06. 2, confirmation from applicable agencies that they have no concerns with the proposed disposition. And 3, a road closing bylaw, a declaration of surplus resolution, and any related necessary documentation to effect the disposition. 3, a bylaw be approved to dedicate the portion of lands as part of the public road allowance and any related necessary documentation to effect the acquisition of land be received. 4, a deeming bylaw be approved to allow the merger of lots that are subject to a registered plan of subdivision if required. 5, payment of any applicable fees for the land costs, solicitor's time and disbursements, as well as confirmation applicable property taxes have been paid up to date. 6, that staff be delegated authority to approve the configuration and location of the land to be acquired in exchange for the portion that's the township road allowance laying between lot 59, plan 32 and concession 12, part lot 35, Medora. And 7, that the transfers be completed simultaneously and that the portion of lands to be conveyed to the township be completed first, followed by the disposal of township road allowance lands to the applicant. That was a long one. Any questions or comments?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm seeing none. I will call the question. All those in favor? Thank you. That carries.
Good morning, committee. Under the Tile Drainage Act, the township has received an application for a tile drainage loan at 1592 Windermere Road. Under the provincial loan program, council approval is required to move forward with the application, and an inspector of drainage would need to be appointed. The report before you outlines the program, requirements, process, and recommended conditions of approval should committee choose to proceed. I'm available for any questions.
So once again, I am going to read the resolution and then we can do questions and comments. Moved by Councillor Kent, seconded by Councillor Zavitz. Whereas the township received an application for a tile loan for 1592 Windermere Road under the Drainage Act RSO 1990, and whereas the township has passed bylaw 81-11 and the district municipality of Muskoka has passed bylaw 81-21, allowing for such an application not to exceed $50,000 a year. Now therefore be it resolved that council has no objection to an application for a tile drainage loan for part lot 15, concession 5 Watt, up to $50,000, subject to the following. 1, the District of Muskoka pass a required bylaw for the debenture of funds. 2, the appointed township tile inspector that's funny, is satisfied that the drainage work that has been completed is in compliance with the detailed drainage system plan and proper installation. 3, proof be received that the work was completed by a licensed tile drainage contractor. 4, a copy of applicable invoices be received to determine the maximum funding available. And that committee recommend a bylaw be forwarded to council appointing the Director of Operational Services or designate as the township's inspectors of drainage pursuant to the Tile Drainage Act RSO 1990. And that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the district for further processing once all conditions and requirements of the township are met. Another long resolution. Committee, do we have any questions or comments? I'm not seeing any. I will call the question. All those in favor? That carries. Thank you. Colucci keeps getting added responsibilities. Tile, what's it called? The tile drainage inspector. That's a good one. Okay, what are we on to? We are on to, oh, Mr. Pink, welcome.
Thank you. Morning, committee. Shorter or non-resolution for you this time, Chair. As committee is aware, Township Council approved the 2024 to 2028 strategic plan in October of last year. So it's been approximately 1 year. As you're aware, this is your guiding document to establish your vision. And I think in an interest of accountability and transparency, it's important to monitor progress on those initiatives and report on said progress. I'm pleased to advise that the vast majority of initiatives in that strategic plan, staff are either underway, completed, or is an ongoing initiative. And there are more details in the appendix, but staff are pleased and available to answer any questions should you have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Committee, this is just for information only, so any questions or comments? I would assume that means you've done a good job. No questions. Thank you very much for the report. Oh, okay.
Well,
Councillor
I think it
Rosenberg, of
deserve-
course.
I think it deserves some comment. And, having been a counselor here now for 3 full years, I am absolutely astounded at the number of projects and initiatives that we are constantly working on. And so it's just a really nice summary to see it and remind us that, there's a lot of things going on in this township, always. So, thank you.
Thank you. Staff appreciates the comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, welcome.
Just want to make sure I'm not talking too loud.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Ireland.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, members of the committee. Before you is a report to provide the committee with an update on Muskoka Lakes Fire Department's progress towards meeting the requirements of Ontario Regulation 343/22 around mandatory firefighter certification. This regulation includes 2 compliance deadlines that I'm going to provide some information on today. The first being July 1st, 2026 for NFPA certifications for our core fire protection services. And the second is July 1st, 2028 for our technical rescue disciplines that fall under NFPA 1006. Since the introduction of the regulation in 2022, Muskoka Lakes Fire Department has strategically planned and implemented in-house NFPA-aligned training programs to meet these milestones. The department is on track for full compliance for all July 1st, 2026 certification requirements. Now, this includes 8 NFPA certifications for our fire department in particular. To assist us in meeting these compliance deadlines, we have developed our own NFPA compliant programs for each certification. These courses are currently being delivered by our in-house instructors. This approach has eliminated third-party training costs and reduced travel expenses to send members out of town to take these courses. It has also allowed greater flexibility scheduling flexibility for our volunteer members. So rather than taking courses during the week, we can offer them on weekends when our members are available to take them. It has built a stronger internal expertise with our members. So we currently have 59 members that are certified to NFPA 1041 instructor. Now this allows them to actually contribute with all of our training objectives. So we have over half of our membership that have that certification currently. The in-house course delivery model ensures long-term sustainability, consistency in training, and full alignment with department SOGs and service levels outlined in our ENR bylaws. We are currently now focusing on achieving compliance for July 1st, 2028, which is around our technical rescue disciplines. These include vehicle rescue, surface water, ice water, and swift water. These certifications are critical for our firefighters and also public safety. Once a vehicle is overturned or a rescuer has to enter the water, technician level certification is required under NFPA 1006. Each member contributes and commits to approximately 100 hours of training per discipline, emphasizing the time and dedication required to receive and achieve this compliance. The Muskoka Lakes Fire Department has spearheaded a district-wide Train the Trainer initiative. So we've partnered with our neighboring departments in the district and with the Ontario Fire College to certify department instructors. As a result, departments can deliver NFPA 1006 certification courses in-house under learning contracts. So far with this model, we have delivered this for vehicle rescue and surface water rescue. This leadership has positioned the Muskoka Lakes Fire Department as a regional leader in technical rescue training delivery. As we work towards our 2028 deadline, our plans for our 2026 include delivering 5 NFPA 1006 courses. We're delivering these in-house through learning contracts and utilizing our own instructors to deliver these training programs. We're delivering 2 vehicle rescue courses, which will result in 37 members being certified, 3 surface water technician courses, which will result in 54 members being certified, and we're looking to implement ice and swift water in 2027. The increase that you've seen in the 2026 training budget reflects participant remuneration required to deliver these specific 5 NFPA 1006 technical rescue courses. These courses are labor intensive, but essential to meet compliance, maintain firefighter safety, and fulfill the township's ENR bylaws. The fire department is very confident in our plan to meet the 2028 deadlines through in-house certification programs. This is a result of extensive groundwork completed over the last year and with the approval from the Ontario Fire Marshal. Thank you for your attention. I now stand for questions.
Thank you very much for a very detailed report. Committee, are there any questions, comments? I don't think I have a resolution. This is information only. Councillor Bosemarth.
Thank you, and through you. This is very interesting material, I find. I'm curious, as I recall, I think we have around 120 volunteer firefighters. I'm just interested in the turnover and how much of this education, we've got objectives, how many to go. Clearly, education is just constantly ongoing. I'm interested in how much of the education is related to the churn of having get new firefighters in and fully trained firefighters retiring.
I'll step in. I know the numbers really, really well, so I can kind of help with this. Our attrition rate and our recruit rate are almost on par in that we lose 18 folks, we'll take in 22. We'll lose 22 people, we'll take in 20. I could show you the bar graph that indicates that. So to answer your question, every year we end up training for recruits at least 20 people. This year we're hopeful to get about 25 people. That brings them up to the capability to be to meet the deadline of the 2026 deadline. And that's just cost of doing business because of the attrition rate being what it is. Typically, we keep a firefighter, and this is probably a better idea for committee to keep in their heads. We keep a firefighter now for about 5 years. If you go back 10 years ago, we kept a firefighter for 11 years. So the attrition rate is increasing quite rapidly. And that's because people have dual income families and they don't have as much time to give us, and we're losing a lot of that senior talent all at the same time. So part of the compensation model is training. So by being a star in training people and having good training, we're able to keep our numbers where they need to be because we have such a small pool of people to pull from. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, Thank you, far more than I was thinking of, but it's a fulsome answer, very interesting.
Thank you. Mayor Kelly.
Thank you, and through you, and great report. Thank you very much. I have a question about the certification. Does the certification sort of belong to the individual firefighter, or does the certification belong to the fire department? And the reason for my question is, if you're recruiting to replace and you find someone who's already got the certification, does it transfer into the department, or do you have to retrain them? Okay.
Through you, Chair. So if we do have members that come to the department that already have their NFPA certifications, and that does translate to us that we have an onboarding program that we offer to them. We do additional, it's not our full recruit program, but we do training with them to learn our trucks, to learn our policies and procedures, and then they are able to join our department. We recently had 5 over the past 4 months that have joined us, which has been fantastic. That really, and that speaks words to how greatly our department is received across the community. People are eager to want to join our department, and it's great to see the positive reactions when people are moving up here and they're like, you know what, I've heard great things about the department. I want to join, I want to get some experience and give back to my community. In terms of any of the other certifications, it's again with our recruit program. As soon as they come in the door through their 10-week program, they have to receive all their NFPA core certifications in order to be part of our department. So for us, it's part of it. As you join the department, you're going to receive 4 NFPA certifications, and I make sure that that happens for our new members that join.
Thank you. Yep, Chief
I
Morrell.
just want to add, going back to the point that I made earlier, as an attractant. So because our training is so well-versed and proper, we are getting members that will actually move to our community for the experience of the training and for the experiences they get here. The varied experiences of our 700 calls a year. We do give them a lot of opportunity. So it's been unique in that we do get certified individuals. To answer the mayor's point, the certification lives with the person, but as the person comes into the fire department, it augments our ability to say we have certified people to do that task. So the time that we have them, we are certified. When they leave, the certification lives with them.
Committee, any other questions? Councillor Edwards?
And thank you very much, Megan. I just wanted to say thank you for the training that you were giving into Port Carling Fire Station on the trailer there and taking me through. It's really important to have our firefighters trained. Thank you. You're doing an excellent job. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions? Just a quick question actually on the any of the team members that might move on and potentially move on to a full-time firefighting gig somewhere else. I think I heard you say before, they often come back and provide service in the community.
Through you, Chair, I was actually one of those people that came back.
Okay.
So I ended up starting as a volunteer. I was with Markham Fire for 5 years. It's a full-time department. And then I came back to serve our community here as the deputy chief. So a lot of our members, because we train to such a high level, do get full-time, and we call it double hatting, where they go and they do their shifts 7-8 days a month, and they come back and they're still members of our department. They feel purpose giving back to their community, and they still stay involved.
I just want to note for committee's attention too, a couple of years ago, I want to say about 7 years ago, there was a move affront by the union, the full-time unions, to remove double hatting. In essence, to take away the ability for a member to do that. So we did hear a rumor that was coming back. So we just want to make sure that elected officials are fully aware that if that should occur, that could hurt a lot of small rural communities that have these double hatters. And I'll add to what Megan said, we do train people in the hopes that they do get full-time somewhere.
Right.
And we do help them with reference letters for those areas that are very close to here, like Vaughan, Barrie, knowing that they'll live here because they want to live here because it's beautiful. They will work a very small amount of time in those other markets and they'll continue to live here.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Bosenworth?
Yeah, so and one other question as my interest gets piqued more and more on this topic. What are the rules, or do we have any rules about whether you have to live in the township to be a volunteer firefighter?
I'll take this one. So yes, the rules are, I live exactly 16 kilometers away from a fire station, so that is our catchment area. So if you live within 16 kilometers of a fire station, that's the same. I try to apply the same rule that I apply to myself. But yes, they do live within 16 kilometers of a fire station. And obviously, if they live closer to the fire station, that puts them a little higher on priority when we're doing selection. However, I would say that we don't have a lot of screening with individuals. We get 20 applicants. We typically take all 20.
Thank you. Councillor Nishikawa?
Thank you. Through you to the chief, I know in the past, we had firefighters from Bracebridge, for example, that worked here full time, and we accepted them. So I would hope that we're still having that opportunity because, as I said, I knew a bunch of them, quite honestly, in Ward 8, and I hope we're not turning anybody away in that for that reason. Thank you.
Through you, one other thing I would mention is this is exactly why we have people that have 2 sets of gear in 2 different fire halls. They may work in one area and live in another. This essentially makes 2 different firefighters for us. So that's an approach that we've taken in order to augment our daytime turnout. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Councillor Edwards?
Yes, you mentioned like the volunteer fire being 16 kilometers away. What happens, let's say when you close the station and then somebody has to drive 20 kilometers?
Through you to Counselor, I guess they would have to drive 20 kilometers.
Okay, no, it's just, you're not going to turn them away. That's
No, of course not. No. What that throughout the entire throughout the entire station relocation project, that project was always rooted in the idea of capital. Let's be concentrating on capital and ensure that our members do not feel any ill will or fear that they're going to be removed in any fashion. We keep our members because we know that they joined us to serve us. I will say our members are really well trained because oftentimes we lose members to some of these other markets near us. And then they find out that it maybe wasn't a great move because they don't get as many calls in some of these other markets that we're talking about.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you very much for a very detailed report. That was fantastic to hear, and we really appreciate the efforts of you and your team.
Thank you.
9B, Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, committee. Today's report is an update on our park development plans that we have been undertaking over the course of this year. As committee is aware, the development of site fit plans for our destination parks was recommended in our recently approved Parks and Trails Standards Manual. And this year we've been undertaking those exercises for Hannah Park and the Milford Bay Community Center. The purpose of the exercise is to assist us with long-term planning for our parks and ensuring our capital budget is up to date to reflect those plans and the needs of the community. We started our community engagement this past summer with some public engagement sessions in Milford Bay and at the Farmers Market in Port Carling, where we gained an understanding from the communities on what they like and didn't like on the parks. From there, we were able to draft a couple concepts and have a public survey available online to receive additional feedback on those. Overall, we've come up with 2 proposed site fit plans for each park, and those are attached in Appendix 3 of the staff report. At a high level Coles Notes version, I'd say that from the feedback and talking with the community, a lot of people enjoy parks the way they are right now and don't see a major need for any major changes. Just replacement of the amenities when the time comes and they've reached their end of useful life. So the nice part is we already have a lot of the amenities that are currently in our parks already in our capital plan. And then any new amenities, we would look to begin to incorporate those into our capital plan starting next year. As it relates to Milford Bay, some of the items that would be considered new, I guess, revolve around relocating a few amenities such as the basketball court and community garden. And this is to facilitate room for a new fire station in Milford Bay. Further, Milford Bay also looks to include a new walking trail, similar to something in Hannah Park where we see that walking path get a lot of use year round as well too. In Hannah Park, again, nothing major. The inclusion of some water access points for people to park a boat and utilize the park, which was a big one. And the other one was the possibility of a small splash pad when we undertake the replacement of the wooden playground there. Other than that, the other amenities within the park, people love them, and again, we'll just look to replace when the time comes. So as for next steps, over the next month, we'll allow the community to digest these plans and provide us any feedback. And if we need to make any minor tweaks or changes, we can certainly do that at council in December, and then begin updating the capital budget for 2027. With that, Chair, I'm available for any questions.
Thank you very much. Committee, I do have a resolution, so I'm going to read it and then I'll do the questions and comments. And Councillor Zavitz, I see your hand up, so you will go first. Moved by Councillor Roberts, seconded by Councillor Nishikawa. Be it resolved that committee approve the final park development plans for Hannah Park and the Milford Bay Community Centre as per the details outlined in staff report OPS-2025-053, and that Appendix 3 of Staff Report OPS-2025-53 be included in the Parks and Trails Standard Manual as Appendix 1, and that the public be notified of the designs and any comments received be forwarded to Council prior to final approval. Councillor Zavitz and then Councillor Kent.
Thank you. Through you to Corey. One of the things I don't see here is, and I'll use the word cosmetic, and I'll talk specifically about Hannah Park. Do we, within our, in the body of our planning, take a look at this particular park and decide that there are some cosmetic upgrades or changes just to update it, to make it look a little more welcoming? I'm speaking of some of the older wood installation that I see at Hannah Park. How does that come into play, or does it not come into play at all?
Okay, Mr. Moore?
Yes, through you. So the cosmetic or aesthetic components of the parks, those are handled through the Parks and Trails Standards Manual. We have those guidelines there so that we have a consistent feel and approach amongst all of our parks. As it relates to the wooden playground specifically in Hannah Park, obviously a lot of the feedback we received was people love that, the uniqueness of it, and that if we were to replace that playground, we would try to do so like for like as much as possible. So I think as that project approaches, we would look to handle kind of that cosmetic, if you will, through the RFP process, and work with the vendors in that regard to try to incorporate that.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Kent.
Thank you. And through you, just one observation. I know the walking path in Hannah Park, probably a quarter of a mile at most, little teeny path that goes around, part, I guess, asphalt and part not. I was surprised at the price of a new walking path being $30,000 or $40,000, given I think Councillor Nishikawa made a comment the other day at the last meetings that, we only spend about $10,000 a year on our paths for all the trails around. It seemed like a huge number to put in I wonder, does it really have to be asphalt? And why is it so expensive? It's a lot of money for that.
Okay. Mr. Moore?
Yes, through you, Chair. Certainly when it comes time to actually proceed with that project, it'll be a number of years out from now. We can dive further into the details in terms of the material we would like to use and the actual path that it goes. Right now, I'd like to keep the number fairly high and conservative, depending how much into the forest we'd like to go and how much tree removal is required, etc. will factor into the price itself. So
Yeah.
lots of factors and variables at this point.
Are you going to make that disability capable?
Mr. Moore?
Yes, as through the Parks and Trails Standards Manual, yes, we'd want to meet those accessibility requirements.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So just as a reminder that right now we're receiving this and that this is then going to be, you're going to advise the public for further comment, correct?
That's correct,
Okay.
yes.
Councillor Bosemore?
Thank you, and through you. Some of our parks are used by the traveling public rather than the people who live in our community. And traveling public often look for a place to be able to have lunch. And I know some of them bring their own barbecue equipment or, there's various ways they can bring their own way to cook their food. Do we have any facilities? And the one, I think the one that often gets visited, because I've seen traveling public there, is Hannah Park. And it's, it offers quite a bit. It's got a place to put a boat in, it's got a nice little beach, and it's a fairly large park. What do we do about that? About, cooking with the ability to cook with a barbecue type equipment?
Mr. Moore?
Yes, through you. Those regulations are handled through the public parks bylaw. And I know we did chat a little bit with bylaw about that because we often do receive requests for, and I think some of the Ontario parks have them where there's actual portable contained areas. So in speaking with our staff there, we felt when the time comes to review that bylaw, we could consider some of those options at that time.
Thank you. Councillor Nishikawa?
Thank you. Through you to Mr. Moore, I'm very concerned about accessibility. And it was pointed out to me that Jaspen, for instance, the new great facility that we put in is not accessible. And one of the biggest reasons is the chunks that we use and, all of that look. And again, I'm really concerned that we're not looking at this close enough. And I hope that we have an opportunity to do so. As well as, it's not just about the playground. It's how do you get to the playground? How do you get from the playground to the bathroom? All of those types of things, I hope that we will start considering more seriously than we have at this point. And I just don't know that we're putting any focus other than the smallest amount of that the province makes you do. I just hope that we have a bigger focus.
Mr. Moore, in the Parks and Trails Standards Manual, is this addressed the AODA?
That's correct, yes.
And would it consider some of the factors that were just brought up?
Yes, it does, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so those will be factored in. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Okay, are there any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, I have read the resolution and I will call the question. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. That carries.
Thank you.
Committee, I am going to take a break till I think 10:25. We'll take, and then we will come back and just complete the rest of the agenda. Thank you. Thank you. Director Colucci?
Good morning, committee, and thank you. So the report before you is the 2025 update for the asset management plan. This update is required to meet Ontario Regulation 588-17. So it incorporates the level of service study and the financial model that was approved by council in July. So the report is before you. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Committee, do we have any questions? I have a question. When you are considering these assets and how I am reading this, is these are guidelines that are determined when you consider the age of an asset. Is that the determining factor when you actually go to look for a replacement? Is it age or are there other factors that are considered?
So through you, I mean, there's a number of factors. Age is one of them. So, you know, in all of our assets, we do condition assessment. So for bridges, we do the OSIM structural assessment for our bridges. So that accounts for not only age, but also the current condition and the current repairs that are required. You know, for roads, we do a roads need study. For our buildings, we do a building condition assessment. So all those things, you know, they also look at age, but that's not the determination of when things should be replaced. For vehicles, you know, we have our own mechanics. So, you know, each year we do a safety inspection on all of our vehicles, which sort of determines, you know, what is required to maintain that vehicle. So, you know, yes, age is a big part of that, but also for vehicles, you have mileage, you have the current condition, you have the amount of repairs you're doing. And so all those things get accounted in to the repair cost. So, but for buildings specifically, we not only look at age, but also the current condition, the amount of repairs required. You know, if there are major repairs, if during the building condition assessment, we determine that there's a sort of a major structural failure. So at that time, we may have to do a major renovation or decide to, you know, get rid of that building and build a new one.
Okay, thank you. I will read the resolution. If there's any questions or comments after, that's fine. Moved by Councillor Burry, seconded by Councillor Bosenworth. Be it resolved that the draft Asset Management Plan 2025 update attached as Appendix 1 to report OPS-2025-054 be approved. Are there any further questions or comments? Councillor Roberts.
Thank you. Excellent report. It's just a piece of the building blocks that we've established. Your team, David, have given us that a foundation, and particularly, I mean, we read their whole report. The executive summary and the conclusions are great for us to have at our fingertips what's happening. And it did a great job. I read through the whole thing and the recipe, so it's just fantastic. But the key point I saw in the report that, you know, really jumped out, there was a lot of good things, but overall, the township receives a rating of D+ for the management of the physical infrastructure. Failure to address the situation will have serious level of service consequences, and that's what we all know that. And this is going to be a hard go in the next little while on trying to find out what we're going to prioritize, what we're going to step back from. So just more of a comment for all my colleagues. When you start reading through this and seeing the money that we need, it's going to be, you know, hard decisions being made. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Thank you, that carries. Thank you very much, Director Colucci. That's a big project and nice to have that completed. Well,
thank you.
Ish.
We're all happy for it to be completed.
Yes, I'm sure you are. Thank you very much. Mr. Cox, 10A.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of committee. My first report this morning provides the results from the second intake of applications for the 2025 CIP Private Sector Incentive Program. Applications were received from October 9th to October 29th of this year, and 4 applications were provided to the township as part of that intake. A summary of the applications and staff's recommendations can be found in Appendix 2 of the report that's in front of you, and specific details of the applications are outlined in Appendices 3 through 6. Based on the guidelines that are found in the township CIP policy, staff are recommending that 3 of the applications be approved. Those are my initial remarks, but I would be happy to answer any questions council has about the report or the applications at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to just continue with today's theme of questions and comments at the same time. Moved by Councillor McIntyre, seconded by Councillor Roberts. Be it resolved that the Community Improvement Plan Private Sector Incentive Program funding recommendations outlined in Appendix 2 of Staff Report DSES-2025-045 be approved, and that the Director of Development Services and Environmental Sustainability be authorized to complete each financial assistance agreement on behalf of the township. So with that, I will ask for questions and comments. Councillor Zavitz and then Councillor Kent.
Thank you, and through you, I guess to James, I personally found this tranche of requests kind of disappointing, very disappointing actually, in terms of a minimalist sort of ask. And I wonder if you could speak to that in terms of, I mean, we're not even getting people coming forward that we're denying, essentially. They're simply not coming forward. And so I wonder if you could speak to that on whatever level you choose. Thank you.
Mr. Cox.
So through you, Madam Chair, there's certainly there's a few factors that I think play into this. Ultimately, it's the discretion of the property owners when and if they want to proceed with property improvements. I will say that over the past few years since we brought the 2 intake system in place, we have seen consistently that the fall intake of applications receives fewer applications, and I imagine that's partially due to the timing of construction windows and planning. I also think that part of the drop in applications we've seen in general in 2025 compared to previous years is the result of sort of the general climate of economic uncertainty that we're going through right now. I think people are waiting to see how things shake out before they embark on major investments in their property. That would be my sense of it, but ultimately we don't necessarily have the information to know for sure.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Zavitz, supplemental.
Thank you, and through you to James. Item number 4, which is for 12, the vast majority of the ask, if you will, is it says business accessibility and facade upgrade. That is actually not a building. That is a business. There is no business conducted at that building and hasn't for many, many years. And I'm just wondering, I see conditional approval is subject to, a final mural design in compliance with our policies on art, but it has nothing to do, it seems, with the fact that it's an ongoing active business in our community. So could you speak to that?
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cox.
So through you, Madam Chair. So the property in question, as I noted in the report, has already received a CIP grant in the first intake this year to complete renovations at the property in order to render it usable for a business. Certainly that is the intent of the property owners from the discussions that we have had with them, is that once the project is complete, they wish to make that property a venue for a business in Bala. So there is that consideration. I will also note that the CIP incentive program is designed for enhancements to properties in the downtown core. It's not necessarily restricted to operating businesses. The CIP does envision that the funds that are available through that could be used to incentivize the development of properties that could be used for a sustainable year-round or seasonal business in the long run.
Thank you. Councillor Kent.
Thank you, and through you to James. James, I had a couple of questions. I guess the numbers for this year, when you add up the first and second tranche, how much under what is available was being asked for? And I guess number 2 is, should we be doing a different kind of marketing? I was originally thinking, and then you just mentioned this, maybe we should be doing something with the Chamber of Commerce to try to market this a little bit better, but then you corrected me that it's only for the downtown core, which means it's a very limited scope as compared to the broad scope of the Chamber of Commerce, for example.
Mr. Cox?
So through you, Madam Chair. So we do partner with the Chamber of Commerce to do like webinars, informational sessions, and things like that around the community improvement plan. We've typically do those as part of the spring intake, and that has, I think, been pretty successful in improving awareness of the program. In terms of the amount that is allocated to the program, council since the program's establishment has allocated $100,000 to the program, to the incentive program annually, with unused portions of that funding being placed into reserve for use in future years. So for 2025, council approved just under $100,000 in the first intake, $99,589 in grants. And then there is the recommendations in this proposal as well that will go above what was allocated this year and take some of that funding that has been in reserve from previous years when the full allocation was not spent.
So that actually changes my thoughts just a little, in that I think that the numbers this year are better than we might have expected. Maybe the quality, as Mr. Glenn, Councillor Zavitsa said, might not be there, but the numbers are there.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. I will say that as the program has become established, this is the fourth year that it's been taking applications. There has been a greater awareness of it, and certainly through we as committee may remember, we are currently running consultation on the update of the housing programs in the community improvement plan. And the initial feedback that we've received from the surveys there have indicated that there is a fairly wide awareness of the program out in the community. People know about it, even if they're not necessarily familiar with the details of it.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Burry and then Councillor Nishikawa.
Thank you, and through you. This is not, it's a comment, and it's not addressed at these particular applications, but I'm having a very difficult time understanding how this is providing any real benefit to the township. And given that we've got the constraints we've got with the kinds of infrastructure we're going to need to build, and the mayor's budget is tough, I'm glad that Mr. Kelly is the mayor and not some of us. Because there's lots of tough decisions there. I'm just not convinced that this program is actually doing the kinds of things it was intended to originally. And at some point, if it's a bad idea, we need to put up our hands and say it's a bad idea. So I would like to see if there's if staff potentially could come back with something along the lines of like, is this something that we should be continuing to fund? I personally am just not seeing how helping some of these private enterprises is doing anything for the betterment of the township of Muskoka Lakes.
Okay, so that's talking about the policy as a whole.
That's a policy as a
So-
whole. I think you'll find
belong
that
to
that's
that
where I
part.
am, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
policy as a whole as opposed to the.
Specifics, okay.
Yeah.
So just as a reminder, what we're here today is in front of us is.
I understand,
the
but
floor, Yep.
if I don't say something about the policy, it'll get lost.
Okay, thank you. I think it was Councillor Nishikawa who had her hand up next.
Thank you. Through you. I would like to open the discussion about the $1,050 for the Chamber of Commerce. From my perspective, this actually sits better for me. Because I know the wall, I know challenges, and in fact, it is a community improvement, but it also highlights, it's not just helping the chamber, it's helping all of those other businesses, I would say. I will say that the chamber, I think, is in a better building now, from a location perspective, and anyhow, I would like to see us approve that one in particular, and I know it's being not sitting well, but I also am having that same challenge with the mural situation. I would prefer, honestly, if that applicant came forward personally. I just don't know if I fully understand the long-term intent and even what this thing might look like. I'm not even sure what it looks like, what it's going to look like in town. So I that's where I said, however, though, I approve anywhere that we can have accessibility, because that's what we were supposed to be here at 2025. And but I do have a challenge with that 12,000. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think I heard the first one was the question on the chamber. So perhaps if I look at the recommendations, denied simply because it didn't hit a minimum budget. Is that why?
Yes, Madam Chair, that's correct.
And could you just remind us what is the minimum?
So the facade program has a minimum grant amount in our policy of $5,000, which means that the total project value would have to be $10,000 in order for it to be considered as part of the grant. The project minimums are in there in order to ensure that the program is being used to fund substantial improvements and not incidental things like minor signage, minor repairs, things like that. The intent of the program was that it was supposed to incentivize significant improvements to the property.
Okay, thank you. And then I guess the second question was around the mural, but I think you've addressed the fact that through Councillor Zavitz's questions earlier.
So certainly with the mural, I believe staff's intent were to issue staff's recommendation is to issue a conditional approval pending submission of final details and final designs to the township's approval. And we would be looking to the guidelines that are found in our public art policy before we as we were to review that submission.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Roberts and then Councillor Edwards. Did you have your hand up? My apologies, I thought I saw that. Councillor Edwards.
Yes, thank you. I would agree with Councillor Nishikawa on the 1,050. And you said it was 5,000 through the chair. 5,000 is the minimum, and yet we have one here. You're recommending approval for 2,000.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. Those are separate project streams. Each grant program stream within the policy has its own maximum grant amount and minimum grant amount requirement, and so that's why those values are different.
Okay, and then and that through you. Going back, I think after the presentation we've heard from the chambers and all the good work, it'd be nice if there was a nice sign that people could find them. So I would support that if possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Nishikawa, I just want to gauge, is there interest about putting a motion on the table? And if so, what would it be? I've just heard it from the two of you now, so I'm
to approve the 1,050 grant to I don't know what stream it comes from, but I believe that I think it'll have the best impact, quite frankly.
Yeah. And is there a seconder? Okay. Thank you. Just give me a moment. And then after Mayor Kelly, I just want to make sure that I'm following process here. Committee, we're just going to take a couple of minutes just to have this refined. So thanks for your patience. continue on just while we refine that motion. Mayor Kelly, I think you had some comments. Question.
Thank you. And through you, I actually had two comments, and one of them I think has now been taken up. I think we get dangerously close sometimes, and this might be one of those times where we're doing staff function. We have a clearly, I think clearly documented, I don't know it as well as Mr. Cox, but certainly documented CIP program. We have a terrific employee who's charged with responsibility to administer it. And I really don't think we should be trying to make better decisions or different decisions, except, as I was about to say, when the chair picked it up, if you have a complaint, make a resolution, get a seconder, and we can vote on it. The policy issue is a really good point. If the policy isn't fulfilling the expectation, we have to go back and look at it. We're not going to do that today here. We'll have a staff report of some sort. We'll come back and have another look at what we can do differently or better to change the policy to make it reflect the kind of results we're looking for. But Chairman Mazan already called that out. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Zavitz, if you can just be patient for one moment. I'm just going to read the motion that, and then I will come to you, okay? Okay, committee, we've had two members bring forward a motion. I will read this motion. Moved by Councillor Nishikawa, seconded by Councillor Edwards. Be it resolved that the resolution be amended to add the following at the end of the first paragraph with the following amendment. Approval of CIP 05-25 to the Muskoka Lakes Chamber of Commerce for a business accessibility and facade upgrade to improve signage on exterior concrete wall in the amount of $1,050. So that's a proposed amendment, a resolution or motions on the table. So at this point, I'd like to ask committee your thoughts on this. I think Mayor Kelly just made his comment. Is there anybody else who has a comment? Councillor Zavitz?
Excuse me, thank you, and through you. I would refer us back to the first presentation, the delegation from the chamber from Blake this morning. Page 3 of the document that he presented has a picture of the actual their new building, the new chamber building, and on their right sort of, or half of it is a I information Muskoka Lakes Chamber of Commerce sign. Is this the sign in question? Is this the actual, is it already installed? Is this what we're seeing here? Or is this an AI rendering?
Thank you. Mr. Cox?
No? Through you, Madam Chair. No, the sign that you're describing, Councillor, has already been put into place, and the CIP does not fund retroactive expenses. My understanding from the application is that they are intending on doing additional beautification to the outside of the building, including putting graphics and designs to indicate the visitor information center on the actual side of the building.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments on this particular amendment? Councillor Nishikawa?
Thank you. Through you, I am not clear if this is the right fund, and I'm asking staff direction is there somewhere else that we should be looking at this? I saw that the application came in many months ago, and it's unfortunate that it takes so long to get to us, but I'm just, if this is not the right place, where is the right place?
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cox?
So through you, Madam Chair, in terms of the township supporting the chamber's efforts to beautify the building, I would say that the community improvement plan is probably the most appropriate place. Certainly, that is one of the challenges that's associated with the intake system, is that when we receive interest or we receive applications, we're not necessarily able to act on them right away, but it does give us, that system does give us greater flexibility in terms of seeing the applications as a whole, and when it's necessary, prioritizing them accordingly. I will say, as committee is aware, the township does supply the chamber with an operating grant traditionally, and that is up for consideration as part of this year's budget as well. The chamber's receipt of a operating grant has typically rendered them ineligible for the other grant programs that the community runs or that the township runs. And that's why this has been advanced through a CIP rather than being referred to, say, the community grant program or otherwise.
Okay, thank you. Supplemental?
Slightly confused. Should we be withdrawing this and adding it to the chamber grant? If I'm saying that right,
Is Mr. Cox, could you comment on the operating grant currently?
So through you, Madam Chair, certainly, I think if committee wishes to consider this grant based on staff's review, other than the project budget amount, it does proposed project does appear to comply with the CIP policy and would be eligible for it. Other than that issue of the minimum budget size. So.
Okay. So I do have a motion in front of me. Are there any other questions or comments? Oh, I will read it one more time just so everybody's clear. Moved by Councillor Nishikawa, seconded by Councillor Edwards. Be it resolved, the resolution be amended to add the following at the end of the first paragraph with the following amendment. Approval of CIP 05-25 to the Muskoka Lakes Chamber of Commerce for a business accessibility and facade upgrade to improve signage on exterior concrete wall in the amount of $1,050. I will call the question. All those in favor? Okay, all those opposed? Okay, that carries. Thank you very much. And now I'm we want to do that now. Okay. So I have also heard from Councillor Burry and Mayor Kelly an interest in perhaps reviewing the overall policy. So I'd like to ask you if you'd like to put forward a motion on that.
I'd be delighted to put forward a motion to ask staff for a report on the outcomes of the CIP program. I mean, we know what we've spent. I think we've been trying to concentrate on value for money everywhere, and I think that staff have done a remarkably good job with the mediocre budget that they're given. But we are going to be pretty strained over the next few years at meeting a budget given our assets and quite frankly things that I think are higher on the priority list than giving beautification pieces that are for private property. So my opinion is that we should be looking at the policy and seeing if it is actually giving us the intended results.
Okay, so
but staff is much better to be able to comment on that than I am. So I'm resolved that
very specifically, you're just asking for staff to come back with a report for a future discussion. I just want to help shape what the
no,
is.
I'm looking
No?
for some analysis. Is this really getting us to the intended consequence? I mean, I think the mayor probably has some. I don't want to.
I'm trying to help staff come up with I'm asking to hear it from you. So the analysis.
Well, I'd like to understand if the appropriateness of having a program like this.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to.
That's what I'm trying to get them to tell me what the resolution is. So thank you, Councilor Nishikawa. Mayor Kelly, did you want to add?
Thank you. I would rather just skip right to the point of let's look at the policy underlying the program and decide if it's still relevant or not and if it needs amendment. Frankly, I don't know how we're going to measure the payback on somebody else's front door being painted purple or whatever. I'm just not sure where that information is going to come from and if it's going to be useful. So let's just go back to the beginning, look at the policy. Is it necessary? Is it relevant? What does it need to be? Just.
Yeah, I would I support that.
Okay.
Okay, so just give me a moment, please. Councillor Roberts, I did see your hand up. Is it possible for me to read this motion or?
I was just going to second it, but that.
Oh, okay. Yes. Thank you. Okay, let me read this other amendment. Moved by Councillor Burry, seconded by Mayor Kelly. Be it resolved, the resolution be amended to add the following at the end of the resolution, and that staff be directed to bring back a report on the results and analysis of the program to date and potential policy changes if necessary. Okay. So any other questions or comments on that? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, that carries. Thank you. Is there anything else that I? Okay. Now I'm going to reread the main motion as amended, moved by Councillor McIntyre, seconded by Councillor Roberts. Be it resolved that the Community Improvement Plan Private Sector Incentive Program funding recommendations outlined in Appendix 2 of Staff Report DSES-2025-05 be approved, and that the Director of Development Services and Environmental Sustainability be authorized to complete financial agreement on behalf of the township. And the amended includes these two. So now what do I have to do?
We had to read this and this and this and this.
Okay, just give me a moment. Sorry, I think I just did something funny. That was the main motion. Are there any other amendments being proposed? Okay, so now what am I saying? All in favor of the main motion as amended? Thank you. That carries. Thank you very much. That always gets us. Thank you very much, Mr. Cox. And we will now move on to the next one, item 10B.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair and members of committee. So my second report this morning is also CIP related and concerns a extension request for 2 CIP private sector incentive program grants. Both grants in question were approved for the work that is currently underway at 1004 Bala Falls Road, also known as the Jack and Stella General Store. As laid out in my report, the applicants have advised that the project will not be complete by the current grant deadline of December 31st of this year, and have requested a 6-month extension in order to complete the approved work. On review of the request, staff have no concerns and are recommending that committee approve the proposed extension. Those are my remarks, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that committee may have at this time.
There's no mic on.
Oh, there is now. Thank you.
I didn't
Sorry.
vote.
No.
I didn't vote. There was
Oh,
So you may want to back that up a little bit. I don't believe Councilor Kent did either. Thank you.
my apologies. You mean for the CIP?
Yes,
Okay.
just for the record.
Do I need to do anything? I think it was actually just that last one. It was not amended. It was the Jack and Stella one.
It was
was
just
10B.
Jack and Stella. Thank you.
I apologize. Would you like me to read the resolution again? I will do it one more time, just to be sure that everybody has heard this. Moved by Councillor Nishikawa, seconded by Councillor Kent. Be it resolved that the request for a 6-month extension to CIP Private Sector Incentive Programs Grant CIP-13.24 and CIP 14-24 be approved, and that the Director of Development Services and Environmental Sustainability be authorized to complete an amended financial assistance agreement on behalf of the township. So that was item 10B. I'm going to call the question again to be sure that everybody has a chance to participate. I will say all those in favor. Thank you. All those opposed? Okay, that does carry. Thank you very much for bringing that to my attention, Councillor Zavitz. As mentioned, I was now moving on to items 12A and B. We had 2 delegations this morning, one from Muskoka Lakes Chamber of Commerce, the other from Muskoka Algonquin Healthcare. Neither one of those had a specific ask, but I am going to just ask the group if you have any kind of questions or comments under 12A. I think I saw, did you have your hand up, Councillor Roberts? Okay, would you like to make a comment?
Thank you. I thought this is a comment.
Okay.
I thought the presentation of the Chamber of Commerce was really good, well presented, got to the points and all the information we need, and it gave me a real comfort with the money that we're providing to the Chamber.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or, okay, Councillor Bosemuth and then Councillor Nishikawa.
Yes, I'd just like to add to Councillor Roberts' comments. What impressed me was, I guess, their performance indicators and how those numbers are all going up. And the number of attendees at events is pretty impressive. So I would agree.
Thank you. Councillor Nishikawa.
Thank you through you to Mr. Donaldson, I guess. Because I don't have the budget open right now, I have questions about how much we're issuing to healthcare this year, or if we are. And again, because my response was going to be, I have taxpayers that ratepayers in Muskoka Lakes that prefer not to be taxed on their for healthcare because they get a grant or a tax receipt when they donate. And so I just wanted to make sure that we're not going against our taxpayers.
Director Donaldson.
So through you, Chair. So the district is levying for the hospital redevelopment. So that is coming through the district levy onto local ratepayers. In terms of healthcare in general, I mean, we do have a facility that we do offer, space to providers at no charge effectively. So there's in-kind contributions we're making to healthcare, but nothing at this time that's, an actual grant per se.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Roberts?
As it pertains to the hospital presentation, I was very encouraged with the comments that I received about, what incentives they were providing to bring people into Muskoka and retain them. Because I could see that's if they come and they live here and they work here and they enjoy it and they figure they could settle here, that's great. I'm shocked that they're finding places to live. And that will be, a big problem, but I'm encouraged with that, that they are proceeding in that manner to get staff.
Thank you. Mayor Kelly?
Thank you. And through you, one thing that I'm curious about, do the hospital come at our request, or because of some relationship we have that requires periodic information, or because they see value in coming and spreading? I'm just not quite clear on what brings them here this morning.
That's a great question. Does anybody else know?
Thank you. Through you. They did submit a delegation request, so it was a request on their end to come here and present to us. We did look back through some history. They do typically come once every year and a half or so. So I'm not sure if they have a mandate or something on their end, but they do. It's from them. They like to come and do a reach out to our community. So it was them requesting to us.
Thank you. Councillor Nishikawa?
Thank you. That's where my question came from, because in the past, they were asking for money.
Okay.
And like for many years, they were asking for money. So I don't know that it was the last couple of years, but historically, whenever they showed, they were looking for money.
Right.
So thank you.
Councillor Roberts?
Thank you. And I look at this presentation, even they didn't ask for money, it's great for information because it's one of the hottest topics we've had was the hospital redevelopment and understanding what the hospital is doing. So with that information, I can go look on their website. But a 5-minute presentation of what they're doing helps me talk to my constituents.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions or comments on those two? Okay, moving on to the district updates. Are there any questions or comments for any of our district councillors? Seeing none. Do our district councillors have anything that they would like to share? Okay, Councillor Nishikawa?
I actually was hoping that Mr. Burry could comment financially on this.
I don't know that there's anything to comment on. Committee of the Whole will meet on Monday coming up, and that will be largely a ratification of the 2-year budget. We will have very little to be able to comment on. We are still paying more than our fair share of the total district budget. It's approaching 40%. Quite frankly, I don't know how much more we can do. We are going to have some interesting things coming to us that may help increase the value that we receive from the district over some time. But it's a long, hard pull, I guess. You know, there's lots of things at the district. I mean, there's some systematic things that are going to need to change if things change for us. Not going to be easy, and it's I mean, it's going to have to start the question of, are the district doing things that they should be doing? Because certainly they have the money to do it, and the question is it really in their mandate to do it? There's lots going on that certainly at the ministry and elsewhere.
Okay, Mayor
the mayor
Keller?
probably has some other ideas.
Thank you. And through you, no, I actually have similar ideas, except that I don't see the hope that we'll ever find some equilibrium between cost and value. I'm not ever going to be saying anything about what's the fair share. The fair share is we pay for what we use. And until the system starts to reflect that, we're paying too much. The other editorial comment is this is the beginning, or this is the budget period for the second year in our first 2-year budget. And as Councillor Burry has pointed out, we baked that cake 8 months ago. There's almost no latitude for input. There's no latitude for feedback, change, amendment. I mean, there is, but you got to be able to squeeze it into about a 3-hour meeting. The information for the second year of budget, I think went live yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. And Monday morning at 9 o'clock, we have a committee of the whole meeting that's scheduled, I think, for 2 hours or 3 hours to review and approve and ratify the second year of a 2-year budget. Because there is, once you do it, you're done. The budget's cooked. So it's a very frustrating thing. We've learned a lot in the last 12 months, and we can't go in and fool with the budget for 2026 because it's basically already finalized.
If I might comment, there's no real changes to the 2-year budget except for the OPP, which is a significant increase, which the district is going to shield us from by taking from reserves. That's the proposition that the staff have made, and we'll talk about it at Committee of Whole. So the district is trying to keep the budget to what was agreed to, over a year ago. But as the mayor has pointed out, it was baked in. Certainly a couple of us at district we're very vocal about the 2-year budget and are on record as having not supported some of the things. But we will have very little time to make any substantive changes in a 3-hour meeting that then goes right into ratifying it in the afternoon at council, unless I'm missing a step. So committee of the whole from 9 till noon, a nice bagged lunch for a whole 40 minutes, and then right into council.
Mayor Kelly.
And thank
Councillor
you. And
Babbitt.
I want to point out one thing. It's not that we're averse to working, quickly and moving through it, but the fact is, many of you are, probably all of you are taxpayers in the district. Where's your opportunity for input in that second year? Lunch hour, I guess.
Councillor Zavitz and then Councillor Bosemarth.
Thank you, and through you, and I guess to both gentlemen that are philosophizing on our role in the district. You have 6 strong mayors sitting in that room on Monday morning in that meeting. Can you tell me if there's any interplay there? I mean, do we have confidence that the other mayors might support something, or are we alone in this vast wasteland by ourselves with these thoughts?
Okay, Mayor Kelly.
Thank you. And through you, I will tell you there is one mayor, and I don't think it would be right for me to identify, but there is one other mayor who is, squarely on board, easy to work with, has really good ideas about how we're going to tackle it. There's another mayor who may or may not be part of the team. I'm not sure yet, but you're not going to get any of the 3 recipients of our generosity complaining about the generosity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Bosemarth.
Yes, I was just wondering if either the councillor or the mayor could remind us of what the percentage increase will be on the proposed number, if you remember it.
Councillor Burry, do you?
Or range, or maybe Director Donaldson knows.
I don't have that off the top of my head. There's too many numbers, but it was what was planned for a year ago. I think it's within the range of inflation, but it's still it's a numerator and denominator problem because our assessments are so high. Even a small percentage of those high numbers is a big number.
Just if I think Mayor Kelly would like to make a comment, I'll come back to you, Councillor Bosemarth.
And thank you. And this is why I don't, and through you, why I'm never really, I think we're not using our time wisely when all we do is complain about the numbers and the percentages. The fact is, and there's one person out there who don't know where I got this information. So there are 40 services roughly that are delivered up by the district on behalf of the residents of the district. 40. When you break that list down, I'm going to venture that half of them have no applicability to anybody in the township of Muskoka Lakes. So, and that's a bit of a stretch. We all might wind up in Fairburn, but is the likelihood that we will be 40% of the population of Fairburn? 0. But we're paying, that's how it's structured. So when you get away from the numbers and look at the service delivery and you start looking for the value in the services that we're paying for, it's not there for half of them. It's just not, unfortunately, for most of our taxpayers. And, it probably is the largest impact is on our largest assessed value, our largest taxpayers. Some of whom are unconcerned about the condition of district roads because they fly over them. And I mean, I'm being facetious, but I'm not. There's no link between the cost that you're paying for the service and whether or not you use it or like it or need it. And that disconnect, I think, is the single biggest breakdown. And there's an argument that we're all part of a big community and we should want everyone to thrive. That's true. That's fair. That's why we have charitable organizations and we write checks and mobilize people to go distribute them where they need to be distributed. But it's a voluntary decision. This is This is difficult. It's a very hard one because the link between the cost and the value is almost imperceptible to me on a good half of the services delivered.
Thank you.
By the way, this is Guy Burry speaking.
Okay, we have Councillor Bosenworth, Councillor Nishka, but hold on for 2 seconds, and then Councillor Roberts. But before I do that, I think the question was asked, and I think Director Donaldson, did you have the information up about just what the tax rate is or potential increase?
Oh, through you, Chair. Thought we'd pass that one. So, and it was in my report. The expected update was $13.35 per 100,000, which is 3.9%.
3.9.
Okay, thank you.
It was just another question, if I could.
Sure.
Do the strong mayor powers apply to Chair Lehman?
Thank you. Mayor Kelly.
Thank you. Chair Lehman, no, Chair Lehman is, I actually don't even know how you characterize it. It's sort of a hybrid. He was voted on and elected by council to act as chair. And so I don't believe that qualifies for strong mayor.
It does not. And the mayors, when they come to district council, are councillors. They are equal. So there are no strong mayor powers at district.
Thank you. Councillor Roberts and then Councillor Nishikawa.
Thank you. Just a comment. I've been listening for 10 years that we got to get value and why we paying so much. And I know this term of councillors, regional councillors and the mayor have attempted to get value for the money we pay. I think we got to relook at this, because if we hear it all the time when we're talking to ourselves and we're talking to this, to the people drinking from the same freshet container, but maybe we need a different strategy. What they've done in Mississauga or something, because if I was a councillor or someone in Bracebridge or Gravenhurst Hospital, I'd say thank you very much. Our taxpayers, thank you for helping the cause. Yeah, so that's just my comment and thoughts.
Okay, that's fine. I think Mayor Kelly would like to respond, and then I'll come to Councillor Nishikawa.
And thank you. And through you, I think you're absolutely right. And I don't think, with all due respect, that we've in the past traditionally been difficult and loud about what we don't like instead of taking the other path. It's a lot more work. There's a couple of good pieces here. One is I think the information's a lot more readily available now for whatever reason than it might have been years ago. The quality of the reporting, the quality of the information we need, it's a huge task to go upstream backwards from follow the money all the way to the top and look for the value. But one of the things is if you focus on value and you can go to anybody, a department head anywhere, and say, show me that you make value or you create value for the taxpayer, that if they do, they like nothing more than to work with you and prove it. Everybody wants to show their worth. But it's not the people. Trust me, it's not the people. It's the structure. It's a system that is designed to be more like a wealth tax than it is a municipal tax, a property tax. It's a wealth tax that ensures that there's no real measure of wealth except perhaps the asset value you own and pay a tax on. But essentially, it's a transfer of wealth from those who have the resources to those who could need it, or not even need it, those who have less. And that is an extraordinarily difficult thing to challenge and to break. If you stick to just show me the value, show me why I'm paying $100 in tax, show me I'm getting $98 worth of value out of it, and I'll be very quiet. But we have to tackle it that way. And it's just a ton of work. So we're like reverse engineering the flow of money, essentially. Don't start at the taxpayer and work down, start at the recipient and work up.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Nishikawa, and then Councillor Burry. I think Councillor Nishikawa has been waiting for a while. I think she started this whole conversation, so I just want to make sure. Yeah, no, I think
actually, anybody that wants to comment on this particular topic, I was actually going to change the topic.
Oh, okay, so, okay, that's fair. And, okay.
So I'm not
So
going to
the thing
change,
then-
I'm not going to change the topic. I
Okay.
am going to talk about one of the pieces that we were able to reverse engineer, and that's the airport. So we were able to go in and determine the total budget for the airport because part of it's in fleet and it was all over. But the subsidy from the district to the airport was about $2 million. And so just a little under 3 years ago, a couple of us at finance said, this ought to be in a municipal services corporation so that an expert board can manage the affairs of the airport and not having a counselor decide whether that's the right sweeper for a 6,000-foot runway. It took longer than we'd expected, but it is now in place where the airport is in a municipal services corporation and the board, the expert board, is now starting to make some real decisions that are affecting the bottom line. And it is my expectation that within a couple of years, we are going to see the subsidy go down next year. That may be a little bit ahead of the cart, but that is certainly what I'm seeing. And the expectation of that subsidy going to a number approaching zero is reasonable. So we've been able to reverse engineer one part of the district that was not helping other people other than those that have jets. And that's what that airport's mostly for. And so because of being able to do that reverse engineering, we brought a solution to the district that you put it into a municipal services corporation, and that's going to take $2 million subsidy out of the district and I'm not saying we reduce the taxes by the 2 million, but at least that 2 million is going to go to things that might be more important than a global 4,000 being able to land. So it could go into affordable housing or other pieces that the district has taken. But to just augment on Mayor Kelly's piece, going through that budget, I mean, a municipal budget is difficult. The districts is as difficult as I've ever seen anywhere. And I've been with the Federation of Canadian Municipalities for a while, so I've seen some fairly complicated municipal budgets. I've been chastised for using the word obfuscate, so I won't use that word, but they're exceedingly complicated and you have to really drill down to be able to understand how all of the pieces fit together to get to what we would in the corporate world see as a total budget. So in order to undo some of the pieces, we have to do some systemic change. Okay. And that's where it's difficult. And so it's really hard. This is probably the hardest thing I've ever done.
Okay. Thank you. CAO Pink.
Thank you, Drew. I just wanted to quickly comment with respect to a strategy and influencing change on this ongoing concern of the municipalities. Those returning councillors will likely recall that council we retained a consultant strategy corp and did produce an inter-tier engagement and advocacy strategy. Now, I'm not familiar or aware of any steps that we've taken, concrete steps to actually implement that. But you may have noted in the report earlier today that one of the few initiatives that we haven't undertaken as of yet in the current strategic plan is an update to that strategy and an implementation of that strategy. Now it's anticipated in 26, 27. I think we want to think through the election cycle and the implications of that. But it is on our list to bring that update forward. And I hope to actually influence change in this. But with that said, I think as Mayor Kelly correctly pointed out, it will be a challenge. This is a long-standing structure and will be a challenge, but I just wanted to refresh your memory that that is a goal in your strategic plan that staff do intend to bring you forward in the relatively near future.
Thank you. Mayor Kelly.
Thank you. And through you, and I'll keep this one real brief. One of the things that I've been working up and haven't got it, completed in my head how to do this. If you took all the district services and just take a simple one like roads, and you identified the district roads in this township, and you literally opened it up to almost a bid and said, who wants to maintain those roads? How much would you charge us, district? How much would you charge us, Mr. Colucci, Director Colucci? And we could decide for ourselves where is the most beneficial portion or the beneficial place for us to have the road serviced. We're going to be done cheaper. We're going to be done better. We're going to be done faster. Where does it make sense that they're all linked into a network of our own roads? And to the extent that we decide, thank you, just transfer them to us, we'll look after them. And I realize it's never going to be that simple, but at least you would establish a baseline amount that you would be willing to pay to have the roads maintained. And you could have every other dollar that we're decking against roads. And I think our down and dirty assessment is it's about $3.5 million more than we could maintain the same roads ourselves. Well, there would be $3.5 million. And what I like about Councillor Burry's comment, not necessarily to give back, but to put into reserves, ease the burden of the increase next year, pay for parks and rec and, whatever. If we could get that simple thing, everywhere else you go, you consume something, you walk in as a consumer, you compare prices, you might shop around and you make a purchase. We are tagged with a cost for every of the 40 services, whether we use them or not, whether we think we should do them cheaper or not. Those services come with a price. We have to pay the price. And all I know is that all the yelling and hooting and hollering in the world hasn't fixed it. We're going to have to try this more methodical approach of going back and asking for some justification of value. It's really all about value.
So Councillor Nishikawa, you had your hand up to change a new topic. Okay. I think so.
One of the other discussions that took place that I think is relevant to this council is Huntsville's request for 1 acre lots. And it's something that I hope that we can look at closer when the right time comes in our looking at bylaws and things. But I found it very interesting, and interesting from a housing perspective as well. So yeah, I don't want to ignore that that was an important part of district last month that we should be considering. Thank you.
Director Huff or CAO Pink, did you want to make a comment on consideration of that?
I didn't expect that.
No, I know. Okay.
Yeah. It was more everybody have a look, I guess.
Okay. Well, I think it could be helpful to understand what that could mean to us. If
Thank you. Through you, just very briefly, I think that very well could be a valid conversation, but likely should have been had or could be had through an official plan amendment stage. We recently went through an official plan review and established a minimum lot size in the rural area, and it is north of the 1 acre. It's 5 acres, I believe. Now, should committee wish, they could pass a resolution for staff to explore that with a report, and it could go through an amendment process. We don't have to wait every 5 or 10 years for a broader review, but our official plan currently has a 5 acre minimum in the rural area. So a 1 acre to move to 1 acre would require an official plan amendment.
Thank you. Okay, committee, are there any other questions or comments for district councillors? Community events. Okay, Mayor Kelly.
There is a seminar, I forget what you call it, a group meeting on Saturday, the 22nd in Gravenhurst on homelessness. And it starts early, 7:30 breakfast, 8 o'clock meeting. It's 3 hours or 4 hours, I believe. It is part of the housing task force that I chair at district. But what's really unique about it is there are 3 speakers that are speaking of real life experience. One currently unhoused, one who has been on and off homeless, and one who has been through it and has turned their life around somehow. So it takes a lot of bravery. I know 2 of the 3 people that are speaking, they are exceedingly putting themselves right out there, talking about the lived experience that they have. And it's getting really good reaction from a lot of support and a lot of support from different organizations, the CMA, the Canadian Mental Health Association, every medical association, every service club. There's all sorts of groups that want to come and see it. It's a pretty unique approach. And so it's, I believe it's free. I actually don't know that. It's at 7:30, breakfast, 8 o'clock start. It's at Gravenhurst at, I forget what they call their Centennial Center, right? It's at the Centennial Center. And if it's something of interest to you, then please make your way there and find the time. It's 22nd. Is that a Saturday? Saturday morning, yeah.
Thank you. What I thought you were also going to mention is there's a couple of Santa Claus parades and there's the trek to Bethlehem, I think. And I'm not, perhaps I think you have those dates in here.
Yeah, the Santa Claus Parade in Bala is this Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock. I think they're looking for more counselors, anyone to walk in the thing. I'm not sure we have anybody else, but we can always reach. I think they forgot to reach out to anybody till yesterday. Yeah. The next weekend is the one I just mentioned. The following weekend, I believe, is the Port Carling Santa Claus Parade, which I think is the 29th here, 6 o'clock or 5:30 start on Joseph Street. It's always a lot of fun. It's very small, but it's a lot of fun. And the following week, around the 7th of December, I think it is, or the 9th, it's the first Saturday, I think, in December, is Trek to Bethlehem at the Community Center in Bala.
Are there any other community events committee that you'd like to talk about? Okay, seeing none. Thank you very much. Moved by Councillor Zavitz, seconded by Councillor Edwards. Be it resolved that this meeting adjourn at 11:35 a.m. And the next regular meeting of the General Finance Committee will be held on Wednesday, December 10th, 2025 at 9 a.m. or at the call of the chair electronically from the Council Chambers Municipal Office in Port Carling, Ontario. All those in favor? That carries. Mayor Kelly has suggested that we will be still starting at 1 p.m.